Guys, we're live. Here we are. SmackDown tonight. What do you guys think? I want to hear your comments. I want to know what you thought of tonight. Not one of the greatest SmackDowns we've seen, but decent build up towards Mania. A lot to talk about. I mean, not exactly. There wasn't that much to talk about. There was more to talk about on Raw than tonight. But what do you expect? It's a 2-hour show. So let's jump into it, guys. Without further ado, let's jump into the SmackDown review. All right, here we go. Alright guys, like I said, welcome to the World of Wrestling show. I'm your host as always, Jake Randy, and tonight we're here to talk SmackDown Live, what went down tonight. I want to know what you guys thought. Did you guys even watch tonight, or are you being informed on what happened on SmackDown tonight by tonight's live stream? Let me know. Sorry about being a little late, guys. I was setting up the equipment and stuff. It took me a little longer tonight than it usually would, but I'm here. I think everything's going well. I think I got all the audio set up right. I should be being heard well. Let's jump into it then. Yeah, forgive me for the background. I got Bobby Roode up here, still is the U.S. champ, even though he's not. I had to put up a background, and I haven't had a chance to exactly Photoshop. But yeah, what happened tonight, guys? We started off the show pretty hot with AJ Styles, who came out there to a huge crowd reaction. Tonight's crowd was pretty decent. They weren't the worst. And to me, I've seen probably the worst. It's probably my hometown where I live. It's completely silent, dead silent when they come to where I'm at. Matter of fact, they haven't brought a Monday Night Raw where I live in probably like 4 years. I think they know that where I'm from isn't one of the greatest crowds, and honestly, it really isn't, man. Even being a part of that crowd is kind of hard and hectic to be at because no one really gets up the energy. You know, the only two people I've seen them cheer for and for where I live is two people, maybe like the Undertaker and John Cena, man. You know, John Cena gets a huge pop where I'm from, but with everybody else, it's dead silent, man. I remember Akira Tozawa, he debuted in my town on 205 Live, and just complete silence. So you know, maybe tonight's crowd wasn't the best, but compared to where I'm from, man, they were pretty good. I think they were loud for AJ Styles when he came out tonight and kicked off tonight's show. We saw him come out and talk about, you know, AJ Styles, you know, cliche, typical gimmick where he comes out and says he's the man who built SmackDown Live, which is absolutely true, man. It's hard to believe that, you know, with this this roster shakeup coming up, that AJ Styles may go to may go to Raw, because he really is, like, when you think SmackDown, man, you think AJ Styles. There really isn't another guy like him on the roster. I know Shinsuke's going up there. Maybe Shinsuke can be the top guy, but with Shinsuke's language barrier, you know, I don't know, maybe not. But AJ Styles, man, yeah, if he goes to Raw, SmackDown may never be the same again. I don't think so, because he's such a big draw to the SmackDown Live roster. So anyways, we see AJ Styles kick off the show tonight, and he talks about being the man who built SmackDown Live. He praises Shinsuke for being one of the greatest Japanese wrestlers there is in the whole world. And then we get the crowd who's really into the match. You know, everyone's hyped for this. We see the Nakamura and AJ Styles chants. We see Nakamura, who comes out and he says he's excited for this dream match. You know, we got a couple of what chants in the crowd because, you know, obviously Nakamura's his language barrier is kind of hard to understand. I'm sure it's harder to hear what he's saying live, but he's getting a little bit better on the English. I kind of like what they're doing, and they're keeping his promos very straightforward. It's not like they're trying to get a lot of words from him. I think when he debuted, they had him try to cut promos, and it wasn't that great. So I'm liking that with this feud, they're keeping Shinsuke's word to a low amount of words. You know what I mean? we see Nakamura come out and AJ Styles sort of have this confrontation in the ring, which I don't think they've had in a while. I know they've confronted each other possibly like backstage, but not in the ring, or not that I can remember. So, you know, signaling that this is the start of the build-up. Now that Fastlane's out the way, the match is official. Styles and Shinsuke, WrestleMania 34. I'm hyped, man. I can't wait. Can't wait to see them tear the house down. But before they could continue on, you know, they kind of just talked about how this is the dream match. They're ready to go against each other. Rusev interrupts their confrontation, and even Rusev gets a nice pop, man. Like I've said before, Rusev's really getting over with that whole Rusev Day thing. I believe is Rusev on the show right now? What is it called? The Mixed Match Challenge. I think he's there. Yeah, he's with Lana, and they're going up against Charlotte and Bobby Roode right now. So maybe I could pull that up so I could see what's going down there. Let's see. I mean, I would think Charlotte and Bobby Roode would get the win, maybe. Let me just pull this up real quick, guys, if you don't mind. I want to see what's going down. By any chance, did you see their match in New Japan? Yeah, I saw their match in New Japan, man. That was a great match. And if they can really give them like the same amount of time they gave them in Japan, then I think they can really knock this show out the park, man. Because I think they can either way, but I just would hate, like I was saying yesterday, for them to possibly make Shinsuke and Styles like a 10 to 15 minute match, because, you know, in order to put on a great classic, I think they really need some time. All right, I got the Mixed Match Challenge going on down here so I can see what's going on. Yeah, man, I'm psyched, man. I'm ready, hyped for that match. We got Rusev, who came out and interrupted them. Like I said, he got kind of a pop tonight, and he gets a pop every night now because of Rusev Day, man. He's really getting over with that. Like I said, it looks like he's not going to get any push or anything heading to Mania. But hopefully after Mania, we see him kind of get a little bit of a push, even if it's mid-card and he's United States champion or something, you know, if he goes for that. That'll be better than where he's at right now, I think, because he's just losing matches and he's not looking so great, but the crowd really loves him. So they had a solid match, man. You know, Styles in the ring is truly phenomenal, and no, I guess, what is it, pun intended, or I don't understand. I don't, like, what I'm saying is Styles in the ring, man, he can go with anybody, man. We saw him have a great match with Lesnar, who's a guy in WWE today who's being considered lazy, that he only does the German suplexes, he does an F5, and that's it. He gets paid, he goes home. But even Styles could put on a great match with him. It just goes to show that Styles can really put on a great match with anyone. Tonight we saw him put a pretty decent match with Rusev. Props to Rusev too. You know, he's being good in the ring. They got great in-ring chemistry. Rusev is so over, but it's sad that he's just going to be thrown out. Yeah, man, that's what's gonna go down for Rusev, I think. It doesn't, you know, that's why I'm hoping that they do something with him come post WrestleMania, because it does look like they're not going to give him anything come WrestleMania. I would hope they at least give him like a segment or something, maybe, because I hope they don't just keep him off of WrestleMania so that they can avoid any of the Rusev Day chants to avoid like showing how over he is. But hopefully we see him out there. Yeah, like you said, we're going to see him in the Andre the Giant Battle Royale, I believe. Which kind of sucks. Yeah, he deserves better, man, with all the energy he's getting from the crowd. We saw some of that tonight. They had a solid match. You know, Styles locked in the calf crusher for the ending, but Rusev didn't tap. Aiden English ended up breaking up that submission, causing it to be a DQ ending. And Rusev and English started attacking Styles. So that caused Shinsuke, who was on the outside spectating the match, to get involved and help out Styles, which leads to a backstage segment we see later tonight. Like I said, man, Styles in the ring is truly phenomenal, and he can go with lots of competitors in the ring and he can really make, you know, any competitor that goes against him look like 10 times better than they actually are because of how great of a performer he is. Not saying that Rusev isn't a great performer, obviously not, but you know, I'm just praising Styles for how great of a performer he is, and psyched for the match coming for WrestleMania. So then we saw My connection's really messed up over here. So I'm not, this mixed match challenge isn't even loading. I don't know. We'll find out the results. Anyways, Big E, he was interviewed backstage after that. And they had a segment where he was interviewed by, I think it's Dasha Fuentes. I get confused. There's a couple of interviewers that look the same. But he's not, is he asked? He's told, like, you know, the Bludgeon Brothers took out Kofi and Xavier Woods. I didn't know they took out Kofi. I knew they took out Xavier Woods because they had, like, instantly said after that he had suffered, like, spine contusions or something like that. So apparently, you know, they took out Kofi too, and they took out, who was it, Jey Uso. We see Big E, he tells Dasha that he knows the Bludgeon Brothers are after whoever survived their attack, but he's there to stand for his brothers, and the New Day will be just fine. They'll be back in no time. And Jimmy Uso then approaches Big E and tells him they took out his brother too, and they got involved in what could have been another Usos versus the New Day classic, and because of that, they can put aside their differences for tonight, and they can take on the Bludgeon Brothers and try to take them out. So we see that. So we get a match scheduled for later tonight: Jimmy Uso and Big E versus the Bludgeon Brothers. So then we get a backstage segment, and we sort of go back to Shinsuke and AJ, where AJ Styles approaches Shinsuke and tells him, you know, Shinsuke, I didn't need you last Sunday night when I defended my title against 5 other men, and I didn't need you tonight. Shinsuke responds with, you know, being a man of few words, says he'll have Styles back until Mania, and then come WrestleMania, a knee to the face, you know. Styles, I like what they're doing with Shinsuke with his few words, because, you know, obviously he can't say a lot. That language barrier kind of keeps him back from being a great promo, but it's okay. You know, he can show his work in the ring when they do give him the opportunity, and he's gonna do that at WrestleMania, come WrestleMania. So I like what they're doing with him in his promos. So then we go to Big E and Jimmy Uso, who take on the Bludgeon Brothers. And before this match even gets started, we see Jimmy and Big E attack the Bludgeon Brothers as they're making their way to the ring. Jimmy and Big E quickly grab 2 steel chairs, and they're in the ring ready for the Bludgeon Brothers to come in. You know, this isn't going to be a pretty fight. Then we see the Bludgeon Brothers pick up their mallets, and they get the upper hand as they slap the chairs out of E and Uso's hands with their mallets. Commercial break. When we get back, the match has officially begun, and it's a pretty quick match. They didn't exactly, like, you know, squash the Usos. Well, not the Usos, but Big E and Jimmy Uso. So they kind of had it, like, you know, they had a fighting chance. They put up a fight. It wasn't just a quick match. They put up a decent fight, and they looked good out there. I liked how aggressive they came out, and it looked good to see Big E aggressive for once, and not just the jokester he is when it comes to the New Day. He looked like a beast out there, and we saw the Bludgeons get the win pretty quickly, though. And so the Bludgeon Brothers kind of getting that push, looking great. And first thing that came to mind was that this is good for Rowan, really good for Rowan, I think, because Rowan needs, you know, a partner. We've seen Luke Harper and Rowan kind of go on their own, and there was a point where Harper was doing great. He should have, in my opinion, been in that. It should have been a triple threat last year when it was Bray versus Orton. It should have been Harper involved in that too. Harper's a great performer in the ring, and Rowan, on the other hand, isn't the greatest, I don't think. But when he's there with Harper, you know, I think he needs Harper more than I think Harper needs Rowan. So that was the first thing that came to mind. But Bludgeon Brothers getting that push tonight, getting the win over the not the Usos. I keep wanting to go that direction, but Big E and Uso, and yeah, they get the win. I'm surprised I'm not showing the images tonight. I usually show these images. Do I have any images? Yeah, I do. Okay, I just haven't been showing any of these. Where are we at? Big E. Yeah. Okay, we saw Big E and Jimmy Uso versus Bludgeon. Then we go to Charlotte and Asuka, who have this in-ring confrontation after what went down at Fastlane. Kind of the similar, you know. one thing in this segment I've noticed about Charlotte is she's very like monotone, and she kind of talks like in the same pattern. She doesn't have a lot of tone in her voice. It's kind of just one straightforward voice. She kind of goes out there and she says this is a dream match that's been waited for a while. Charlotte versus the Empress of Tomorrow, the undefeated streak of Asuka versus the Queen of WWE, Charlotte. Asuka responds by saying she's been wanting this. She chose the Queen because she wanted a real challenge, and Asuka bows down to no one. Another person that has a language barrier is Asuka, and I think they're doing great with her too, with not speaking so much. She does a lot more in the ring. It's kind of hard to build a face character when she's so dominant like she is, and she doesn't speak so much. It's kind of like what you would think of as a heel sometimes, but she does great out there. The crowd loves Asuka, and I just hope that once her undefeated streak comes to an end, that people still care for her, because I'm not sure if it's the streak that keeps Asuka interested in the fans' eyes, because I'm just a little concerned, like what happens when Asuka's streak really does come to an end? Are the fans still going to care for her? I just hope that they will, and I think they will. I'm sure they will. I know I will, because she's a great performer. Are you surprised to see two baby faces going for both the men's and women's championship? Yeah, that's a good point. That is true. I am a little surprised, but I feel like these two are dream matches, and in the right sense, you can build up these matches to be great. Like I said, in NXT, they've had face versus face and heel versus heel at times, and with the right booking, you can definitely make it happen. These are, like I said, these are two dream matches, and with that scenario itself is pretty good. It just has to be, the story has to be told right. Like they both, the face earned the opportunity to get there to face the other face, and this is, it's I'm trying to say the right words here, but it's like it's a build up between, I don't know, but they can definitely pull it off. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think way too much into it, but they can pull it off. I am a little surprised, because usually every year it is heel versus face, but it is a little something different, I think. And with the performance I think they're going to put at WrestleMania, with, of course, the right given time, then these two matches will be great. They'll be amazing, I think. I'm looking forward to both of them, as I think they can both steal the show. Where am I at again? Shinsuke, Styles, yeah, we saw that. Big E, Bludgeon Brothers. I think this is where Sami Zayn had a backstage segment or a backstage interview with Renee Young. He claims that it wasn't Shane. He doesn't blame Shane for his actions. He blames Kevin Owens for getting involved with Shane, and yeah, I agreed. NXT has definitely shown that the writers can get it right. It's a good change. I feel like the crowd will be a lot more into it than usual. Yeah, I feel like that the same way too, man. Because on the other hand, we have a heel in like Nia Jax, and we have a heel in Alexa Bliss, my bad. We have a heel in Alexa Bliss, and we're going to have, I'm sure, a face in Nia Jax. And that's kind of like the opposite, I'm not expecting that to be exactly a show stealer or anything. A decent match at the most, I would think. So it's kind of like flip-flop, heel versus face there, but not going to be that great of a match come WrestleMania. And then, we got Asuka and Charlotte, that's face versus face, but is going to be a great match at WrestleMania. So a little bit of vice versa there. Let's see, where was I at again? Sami Zayn, we had a backstage interview. Yeah, he claimed that it was really Kevin Owens' fault. Then we go to a recap. Well, Orton goes to the ring. Actually, okay, I was on Charlotte and Asuka. That's right. That's where I was at. Charlotte and Asuka had that in-ring segment. They kind of just had a stare down, not too much told tonight. But what kind of threw me off was when they had Randy Orton come out, kind of interrupt there. It's kind of like they were running low on time or something, and they sent Orton out there real quick. A little odd. Then we went to commercial break. It's like, you couldn't just wait to commercial break and then have Orton come out. I don't know, maybe I'm being too picky there, but Orton came out and he just kind of recapped what went down, how he's proud to be a part of the short list that is the Grand Slam champion, as he won his first U.S. championship, and that's a list he actually cares about. When he brought that up, I completely had forgot about that list, that top 10 thing. I'm not sure if that's a monthly thing or whatever it is, but it doesn't seem like it matters anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of just dropped that whole gimmick, because, you know, there's not a lot of talk around that anymore. He says he'll walk into Mania as the U.S. champion, and no one's going to stop him. Of course, that calls for Bobby Roode to come out. Roode comes out and makes his, gimmick entrance. He congratulates Randy. He says he wants his rematch, and he doesn't want it just anywhere. He wants it at the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. So instantly, you knew Jinder Mahal was going to go out there eventually. Nonetheless, Jinder Mahal comes out, interrupts them. He says they can forget about that WrestleMania match because he's going to defeat Bobby Roode tonight, just like he defeated Randy Orton. So already, defeating Randy Orton, it's kind of like, oh, okay, so he's going to get a title match because he's defeated the U.S. champion. But I guess I understand what they're saying. Like, that wouldn't make exactly sense because he wasn't the U.S. champ back then. So they kind of booked this match between Bobby Roode and Jinder Mahal, which Jinder Mahal ended up getting the win over when it was one of the Singh brothers who got involved, and he cost Roode the match in some sort of way as he got on the apron and distracted Roode. Jinder Mahal put him in the Colossal or something like that. Yeah, so he kind of cost him the match. So I guess that's kind of signaling towards Mahal being a number one contender now. So now not only is Roode going to get his rematch, Jinder Mahal is going to be thrown into the fray. As a lot of people have predicted, it's going to be a triple threat more than likely at WrestleMania between Bobby Roode, Randy Orton, and Jinder Mahal. Again, tonight, man, just like Monday Night Raw was straight storyline for WrestleMania. I mean, you can't expect anything else, but it's WWE's way of jumping and kind of like booking at the very last minute. They're sort of like procrastinate all the WrestleMania storylines until the very ending. There's some that have been built up for a while, such as Shane and Owens and Sami Zayn, that storyline. A little odd with the whole Daniel Bryan situation, but we saw something pretty interesting at the end of tonight. But then we get Kevin Owens, who has a backstage interview with Renee Young as well. He calls Sami a liar and only blaming him for his shortcomings. He states Shane tries to steal the spotlight just like all the other McMahons, and it's Shane's fault that he's not the WWE champion today. Then we go to a match between Naomi versus Carmella. This is kind of where the crowd's a little dead. They started off the show hot, but I mean, do you really blame them? Tonight kind of was a little slow. Not one of the worst SmackDowns we've seen, but a little bit of a sleeper show tonight. I wouldn't blame if anyone kind of clicked off tonight. I mean, you didn't miss too much. The ending was big, though. The ending, that's something, you'd probably watch back on, I think. Yeah, but we saw a quick match between Naomi versus Carmella. They kind of had a nice sequence. That was like the only thing I caught out of this. That I really liked that sequence when Carmella had dodged 3 of those roundhouse kicks from Naomi and then ended up getting rocked in the face by like a knee from Naomi. That looked good, and that kind of got the crowd to go, whoa, But that was like right at the end, and Carmella ended up pulling up the win. Not sure. Like I said, maybe they're trying to make Carmella look like a threat with that Money in the Bank briefcase, because as rumor has it, she's gonna possibly cash in at WrestleMania 34, but she's not gonna do it successfully, and she's gonna lose to possibly Asuka. Whoever wins that match, she's gonna fail to cash in. So like I said, maybe they're giving Carmella these wins. We saw Carmella get the victory over Becky Lynch at Fastlane in that tag team match, and then we see her tonight beat Naomi. That's the only thing, the reasonable thing I can think about, because I think Carmella's probably just going to be thrown in that Memorial Battle Royale. So that's the only thing I could think about it, is they're giving her this TV time so she can look like a threat with that briefcase. So people can be like, oh, she's cashing in. She's going to take the title off Asuka and, cause Asuka to lose her undefeated streak. But really, Asuka's just going to go through Carmella too. And this is where we head to our main event segment, where we have Shane, before we get to that, let me see. If Charlotte retains her title, do you think Carmella has a chance to be successful? I would think so, yeah. If Charlotte defeated the undefeated streak, then I think, yeah, it makes more sense. And I think that would be their, well, you know what, I can't say. I was going to say I think that would be their way of saving the undefeated streak, but that wouldn't make any sense. If Charlotte wins, the undefeated streak's over. But if Charlotte does retain, yeah, I think that makes sense, definitely, that Carmella could cash in successfully. But I feel like, they wouldn't go that way. I really think they're saving that undefeated streak for a big future, possibly SummerSlam match with Asuka and Ronda Rousey, because I'm sure they're going to build up Rousey as we get to the bigger pay-per-views in next year, or not next year, later in the year, come SummerSlam, because I think that's a big draw for them. I think that's something they're really looking for, is Asuka versus Ronda. But then again, you know what? If Asuka that's the question. Is Asuka going to be on SmackDown then? Now that I'm thinking about all this, it's all coming to mind. Like, okay, if Asuka wins the SmackDown Championship, she's going to be on SmackDown. You can't, go to Raw with the SmackDown Championship. So, does Rousey go to SmackDown? Do we see in that Superstar Shakeup, apparently it's booked for Backlash, do we see Rousey go to SmackDown? I wouldn't think they would do that, because I would think someone that big of a star outside of the wrestling business would sort of be on the A show, as they call it, Monday Night Raw, where more people pay attention. So that's an interesting question there, man. Like, will they have that match, or will it be later? Will it be next year's Mania? I don't know. But to answer your question, yeah, man, I think if Charlotte was to retain, then there's a logical chance of Carmella cashing in and being successful. I want to know what you think, man. Do you think? Because I kind of had to talk about this in one of my live streams before, where I was saying, do you think it's the right thing for them to do if Carmella cashes in and fails? Would you be, I don't know, it's not like if you'd be happy with it, but would you, would that make sense to you, considering that they already had Baron Corbin kind of fail to cash in his briefcase? It would be 2 failed cash-ins, and it would also be the first women to ever cash in to fail. That's what I was thinking. That's the problem, was if Asuka wins, she won't be able to fight Rousey, because that doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. That just all hit me right now too. So I'm not sure where they would have to go with that, or who Rousey even competes with on Raw, because how many competitors on Raw really that she can go against, besides, like, okay, I'm sure eventually she'll go through Bliss. Maybe they'll have her go through Nia Jax. Maybe they have like a champion versus champion match at Survivor Series. Maybe by that time, Rousey's a Raw Women's Champion and Asuka's a SmackDown Women's Champion. They sort of have the thing where they did with Charlotte and Bliss at Survivor Series, where they're champion versus champion. I guess that's a way to have that match, sort of a dream match, right? I guess that's the only direction I could think of that. Let's see. See, I couldn't even see it. It says just broadcast interrupted for this mixed match challenge. I don't know who won. I don't know if you saw that, but pretty sure Flair and Rude won. See if I can catch the playback real quick. I don't know what's going on. My phone's messing up. I'm not the biggest fan of failed cash-ins, especially given how long she has held the briefcase. It would be so anti-Semitic. Man, we have a lot of similar thoughts, I've noticed, because I actually said, I think, those exact kind of words right there in one of my live shows. I think it is kind of anti-Semitic for them to just have her fail her cash-in after how long she's held it. But I mean, if it's against Asuka, it's her undefeated streak. Is that one? I mean, it is kind of a reasonable way to end it, because it's almost like you didn't exactly lose cleanly. A cash-in isn't a real clean victory. So I don't know. Maybe people are thinking too much into the undefeated streak and too concerned about ending it, when you could really get some heel heat on Carmella for defeating Asuka. But then again, do they want to? Is Asuka ready to be? I mean, is Carmella ready to have that heel heat and kind of be a top star? I guess that's up to the people in the back. So then, guys, I didn't get to the end of the show. Went down. We saw Shane McMahon, who came out there to announce his big WrestleMania announcement, but he kind of dropped a a bomb on everyone when he kind of just quickly went by the fact that he just said, come next week when Daniel Bryan comes back to be the general manager of SmackDown Live, that Shane is taking an indefinite resigning as commissioner. But before he does, he says, I want to make a WrestleMania match, and that's Sami Zayn versus Owens. So instantly when I heard that, I was like, great, awesome. This means Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens will not be in that that terrible Memorial Battle Royale. Undertaker lost his streak at Mania, so Asuka's streak isn't 100% guaranteed at Mania. There's a good chance that Charlotte is the woman to finally beat her. I agree. Yeah, there's a good chance. Really good chance. And Charlotte is a reasonable competitor to do that. You know, honestly, I'd probably rather Charlotte beat the streak than Rousey. I know we haven't seen Rousey in the ring, so we don't know how good she is. Like I've been saying recently, like Rousey is going to be... her future with the fans, the way they react to her, I think is going to really be decided how she is in the ring. They've already, the fans have kind of already gave their thoughts on Rousey by the way she's cut her promos. She's not exactly very charismatic. You know, the world she's from wasn't exactly, you know, exactly the same way the WWE is. It's more of a show, obviously. But I think a lot of her future is really going to be determined by what she's like in the ring. So if Rousey's not that great in the ring, I think the fans sort of turn on her a little bit. They're going to get tired of her getting that big push. But yeah, in my opinion, I think Charlotte's more of a reasonable person, or somebody I would like to see more defeat the streak than Ronda Rousey. So yeah, we see Shane, who dropped that bomb, man, on everyone, saying that he's going to be indefinite resigning as a commissioner. We saw Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn come out after he had made that match. Like I was saying, man, I was excited to just hear that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn aren't going to be a part of that Memorial Battle Royale, as the rumor was going around. It shows you, man, you don't have to believe everything that goes down on the internet. Maybe they were going to go that route. Who knows? Maybe they were, and then the instant all that hate from the fans maybe came out about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn being put into that match, maybe that's what made him realize, we gotta take this further with Owens and Zayn. Also, when I heard Owens and Zayn at Mania, I was pumped. I know we've seen that fight, but you really can't go wrong when those two are in the ring. You really can't, man. They've had countless amount of matches, but each time they tend to pull out something different. These guys know each other that well. As a fan, we know that backstage, these guys are really close friends. They've been on the road together for so many years. And they have so much great chemistry in the ring that there's another match that could steal the show at Mania and really elevates like how I feel about WrestleMania. Now I'm like, hell yeah, I'm ready for Mania. But it doesn't look like it's going to be Zayn versus Owens now, I would say, because I think if Shane's okay, man, because after the night he was making some groaning noises that made me think like, dude, this guy's actually fucking hurt right now. But I don't know. We saw, like I said, so it looks like we're gonna see Zayn versus Owens versus Shane, unless actually it might be Zayn Owens versus Shane and a partner. I thought when they were like, Shane was getting beat down and they were like, oh, Shane's helpless, he's helpless out here, 1 against 2 or whatever they were saying. I thought we were going to see someone like Dolph Ziggler come out for the save, and we're going to see kind of Dolph Ziggler turn into a face and be there for Shane, and we were going to have a tag team match. It's still not too late to happen. We could see something like that happen in the next few weeks, but I'm not too sure what they're going to exactly have happen. Maybe this turns into a triple threat where Owens and Zayn sort of turning on each other, and we see them get involved with Shane. I would prefer it just to be a singles match, but after tonight we saw Zayn and Owens start beating the crap out of Shane McMahon. They put him in like a sort of concerto, or I don't know, they put the chair over his neck. They ran him right into the steel post, and then they dragged him backstage. And like just in this image, I didn't know what to call this red steel equipment they had backstage, but this is where they took him. They picked him up for a power bomb. Kevin Owens power bombed Shane right onto that steel equipment right there, and Shane sold the hell out of this maneuver right here because he was, like I said, moaning and groaning, and it sounded like he was legit hurt. A guy, I forget how old Shane is, but he's pretty up there in age, so we've seen Shane take crazy bumps, so maybe this wasn't that big of a deal, but he sold the hell out of this, and it looked great. Um, Shane was just really selling that, man. It looked good. It looks like he's hurt. I don't know if that's gonna write him off, but I feel like he's gonna come back. Didn't they do something like this last year? What did he had a match with Styles, right? Yeah, and Styles was a heel at the time. Didn't like Styles beat him to a point where, yeah, he looked hurt, and then he came out the next night or he came out later that night, dragging his feet, and he made the announcement like, Styles, I want you at Mania, and this was like 2 weeks before Mania or a week. So I could see him definitely doing the same thing. Shane's kind of that character where he takes a beating, a crazy beating from hell, and then he comes back, whatever's left of him, and he challenges. I think he's gonna have like somewhat the same thing. He smashed his head through the car. Yeah, he smashed his head through the car window. That's right. Yeah, exactly. So I could kind of see them going kind of that same direction with Shane right now. Unless he's actually hurt, like I said, he didn't look like he was in a lot of pain. Or he was just really selling it really well. But yeah, I think this is kind of confusing. Does this turn into a triple threat? Does this turn into a handicap match, which kind of doesn't sound fair, and it doesn't sound that exactly entertaining, because we obviously know Shane's not gonna get a win, I don't think. And it's not like he actually has a chance against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So does this turn into a tag team match come WrestleMania, or does this somehow turn into a triple threat? Because we did see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens tonight kind of talking down on each other in their backstage interviews. I don't know, interesting way they could go. I don't know. They could go either way, I guess. Like I said, I thought about Dolph Ziggler whenever that went all down. I'm kind of curious what they're going to do with Dolph Ziggler now, because we saw him drop the United States Championship, and then he came back at the Rumble, which was pointless because he just got thrown out. Then we saw him join this 6 challenge pack, whatever it was called, 6-man challenge, and he lost that, of course. So what do we see? Do we just see them throw him as well in the Memorial Battle Royale? I guess that would make sense, right? I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's probably what they're gonna do with him. But besides that, man, I think that was really it for tonight. Still some more questions again. Like I said, it's good that they're not answering all the WrestleMania questions, because then what's there to look forward to in the next weeks of SmackDown and Raw. But tonight wasn't one of the worst. It wasn't, like, of course, one of the best. But it's a 2-hour show. It went by pretty quick. Some interesting WrestleMania build-up. I'm just hyped for Styles and Shinsuke. That's going to keep me entertained come WrestleMania. If we get the Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn thing, that's going to keep me interested. I'm sure even if we see Shane involved, it'll still be a great match. Charlotte versus Asuka. WrestleMania 34 it's starting to build up. I think they're slowly getting the storylines going, but I hope that their in-ring performances really show up come WrestleMania. And like I said before, my main thing that I asked for, man, from the WWE come WrestleMania, just give them time, man. Just give a lot of these matches time. At least give Styles and Shinsuke a lot of time. Give Asuka and Charlotte some time. Don't give all the time to Cena and Undertaker, because Undertaker's at that age where he's a lot older. He's slower in the ring. I know they've kind of made that the whole gimmick and part of the storyline now, but it's true. He's at that age, so don't try to give him as much time like they did with the whole Roman versus Taker thing last year. It was a little too much time, and it was kind of a drag as the main event. Do you normally do a prediction videos for pay-per-views? I'm interested to see who thinks is going to win some of these matches. I usually will do a Saturday show come WrestleMania 34. Since TakeOver is going to be the night before, I think what we're going to do is Friday, I'll have my co-hosts and me go over the predictions for WrestleMania 34. And we'll probably do TakeOver and WrestleMania predictions on the same night, the week of WrestleMania. And then Saturday, I'll have the TakeOver review. And then, of course, WrestleMania Sunday, that big night. Got to get ready for that review. So I'll definitely be here, man. Looking forward to having you in the chat, man. Again, thank you so much, because you really keep it interesting. You really keep me having feedback. I've been actually looking for a possible co-host or something, you know. So I'm looking out there for anyone that can kind of give me energy to feed off of, you know, so we can go back off each other. All right, awesome, man. Yeah, thanks, man. Like I said, I'm really looking for someone I can sort of feed off, and we can, because I feel like it's more interesting whenever we have two opinions or more opinions. I might just get like a group of people that I can chat with for the Monday and SmackDown reviews. On Saturdays, I do have my co-host Nate, but on Monday and Tuesday on Raw and SmackDown, he's unavailable, so I can't work with him on those nights. But looking out, man, for someone that I could work with and I can have on the show with me. But I guess that's really it for tonight. Appreciate anyone who's tuned in. Gundam, man, you're the man again. Thank you for being so supportive and helping me out. Thank you for anyone who joined the show tonight. Again, you can follow my Twitter or the show's Twitter in the description below. I have that in the description. Thanks for watching, anyone. Monday, Raw review. Tuesday, SmackDown reviews. Saturdays, where I join my co-host Nate and we do a live predictions when there's a pay-per-view the next day, or news, rumors, just anything that's going around in the WWE universe. Or eventually, you know, we're going to try to jump into actual World of Wrestling. I know this is the World of Wrestling show, but right now all our focus is on WWE, but, you know, we'll try to get into New Japan, ROH, you know, all these other companies, big companies that are doing great things, man. Because I myself, I'm a big Elite fan and Kenny Omega, and I can't wait to get into that stuff. But right now, it's sort of, since I just started, I'm focusing on WWE right now. But thank you for everyone again. Appreciate all the nice feedback that I've been given over the few weeks. Very minimal, but we're moving forward. The only way you can get better is to learn through the daily live streams, or not exactly daily, but working on doing all these live streams every week and getting better at this. So, all right, guys, that is going to be it for me tonight. I think I cleared up everything. Let me double check through my notes. The only thing I didn't talk about was the Mixed Match Challenge. I got to check out 205 Live, man. They've been doing pretty great. I think it's already going down right now, that tournament, man. I got to check that out. If not, I'll watch the playback. But I'm excited for that 205 Live tournament they got going on. That's going to culminate at Wrestlemania, too. All right, guys, that's it for me. I'll let you guys watch 205 Live or whatever. Go on with your lives. And you guys take care. I'll see you guys.